Hello, I'm going to go ahead and get started and share my screen for that activity 3. Activity number 3, connected phonotation. Starting off, our learning objective for today is we will understand the key details and strategies that come from connected phonotation is more effective than segmented phonotation for teaching beginning readers to decode unfamiliar words. A little analysis of that article is overall, we understand that connected phonotation is more effective than segmented phonotation for teaching beginning readers to decode words. We'll continue to get more into that as we go through this presentation. Starting off with just some context, that segmented phonotation is breaking the stream while sounding out the individual phonemes within a word. I think about this a lot when I think about kids reading actual words. I've noticed a lot of my first graders, they'll take their finger and they'll pick it up, and I try and teach them that it's a straight line across. That finger should never be picked up because that's not good fluency. The next thing is that connected phonotation is pronouncing words without breaking the stream while sounding out the individual phonemes within a word or nonsense word. So like I said, we're making sure we're doing that finger across. They're having that stream of either sounds or words. That first key detail was why decoding. Decoding is the ability to identify sounds and letters to read words. Decoding is valuable for identifying unfamiliar words and being able to store words without blending or sounding words. It's important to understand the different things that get us to the point of being able to read fluently, like decoding. The next thing is those 4 phases of word reading. We start off with that alphabetic phase. So readers use contextual and visual cues. So pictures are really going to lead them in this. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of children's books have lots of detailed pictures. That's one of the ways that they're reading that book. We talk about in my classroom how you can read books by looking at the words, looking at the pictures, and looking at the pictures and words. As we go throughout the year, I'll try and ease back on just looking at those pictures, but it's a good way to introduce those kids to reading and get them comfortable with it the more challenging it gets. The next one is that partial phase. So readers learn some letter sounds and use first and last letters to read words. A really good example that I found of this week was in our decodable text. One of our words was will. One of our sight words from a couple weeks ago was with. A lot of my kids are really familiar with that word with all the memorization and all the practice we do with sounding out those words on my sight word wall. And this week during our decodable text, I heard a lot of kids, instead of saying will, saying with, because they're taking that first letter and they're guessing something that they already know. Grapheme phase is phoneme relations, phonemic awareness, and encoding skills, which allow complete spelling and memory. So I think about this as like that first reading. We're starting to understand those different concepts that go into it and understanding the spelling and being able to spell and write words better, not just based on the phonics, but based on the actual memorized rote spelling of the word. Last one is that consolidate phase. Readers possess knowledge of letter sounds such as syllables and morphemes to read words. The last key detail I want to go over is those research results. So first thing is that first set of data, 8 children taught to stretch and connect phonemes corresponding to graphemes. So that intervention was that connected phonotation, that going across that stream, using those nonsense words, practicing with flashcards, practicing with sounding them out, and then testing them to see which one had better recognition of those nonsense words. The second set of data had 8 children taught to pause between before blending. So using the exact same words, but using a different strategy for that intervention, that pausing between. Think of it as a stream or picking up those fingers and chopping up those individual sounds to read those nonsense words. The results are students who received connected phonotation intervention showed superior word and non-word decoding compared to those received segmented phonotation. Starting off with strategies to decode, the first one they had was using nonsense word connected phoneme isolation. So this exact thing that worked on that research study, the children sound out either those CVC words without breaking the speech stream. Occurs when the connected phonotation can be held and translated to adjacent phonemes without disturbing the sounds. So that's why sometimes we use those nonsense words. Another reason why it's really beneficial to use nonsense words is because if they aren't familiar with the word and it's a nonsense word, they might try and not guess and they'll take more time to sound it out. And that's just my personal opinion from my experience with using nonsense words. And also, it's going to be easier to make sure that they're adjacent and that it's blendable for them. So my examples was moth, sim, nif, and sif. So if I'm using that connected phoneme isolation, I might either say it to them or I might show them a visual of the word. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say or show them math. And it's going to go math. I didn't stop. I went math, math. It's a straight line across. And honestly, for even me, sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to do that. Next one would be sim. So sim. Next one would be nif. Nif. And then sif. Sif. And I always make them when I do this to have that finger across either on that table or right in front of me. I'll go over them again. That first one is math. Math. Next one is sim. Sim. Nif. 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 I caught myself going nif. The next one is sif. If. And even there, I paused a little bit. Sif. So it's just really important to follow that finger and make sure you're also doing it correctly. And then finger moves beneath without picking it up. If I was having them do it with a card, I might put the card in front of them, have them go across. If I was having them do it verbally, I might just have their finger up in the sky. My next strategy was nonsense word flashcard practice. So during a small group instruction time, have a group of children. I would say 4 to 5 would be the maximum, especially if you're working with those kids that are considered to be in that lower reading category. We want to make sure we're giving them time with this. So I might do only 4 kids if it's possible. And then practice those nonsense words using flashcards with blendable nonsense words. So I'm going to also model it as well, but it says have children connect the phonemes without breaking the stream. The reason why I chose this continued for both is because within the research, it showed that that was more beneficial. I don't think that breaking up the sounds is not beneficial, but if this one is more beneficial, that's the one I'm going to go to. So the process would go see it, stream it, say it, spell it. So they're gonna stream it, they're gonna say it, and then they're gonna spell out the letters. So I'm gonna give you an example. My first word, I would show this and I'd say, okay, let's stretch it out. If Biff, B-I-F. And then what I usually do, a strategy that I found really helpful in that small group instruction is after I have my 4 or 5 kids do it, I'll say, I loved how you did it. I need you to show everybody else. I'll have them model it for everybody. So then they get an extra practice and then they get that proud feeling of recognizing the work that they're doing. And so I'll give you another one. Myth. So if I was doing this, I would say, okay, we're going to stretch it out first. Myth. M-I-F. I'll do them both one more time. So we stream it, say it, spell it. Biff. B-I-F. Next one. If myth. M-I-F. And then, like I said, I would say, I love how you did it. Can you show everybody else how you did it? And then these are just my source. This is just my source, that article. And that is everything.